Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout. Back for part 2 of today's Power Move, where we talk about overcoming adversity to help others. Today, we have an interview with the serial killer whisperer, Tony Ciaglia. Of course, with me, as always, I'm John Gafford, Colt El Scorcho. El
Scorcho, your group text.
I will El Scorcho, your group text with my green bubble. And the counselor, Chris Connell. And sitting in today, if you didn't hear that, Tony Ciaglia. If you didn't hear the first part of this, it was kind of the superhero origin story. Go back and watch that. This is also the portion of the show when I make my cheap pander. So if you're watching us on YouTube, take that hot second, give us a subscribe, give us a like on the video, give us a comment, whatever it is. And if you're listening to us wherever you are, through whatever podcast listener you are, give us a 5-star review. It takes 2 seconds and it does help the cause. So we were just talking about, we're picking this back up a second ago. We were talking about so after your brain injury, your doctor said you needed to pick up a hobby. And, you thought backgammon would be a little too much. So you decided to become pen pals with serial killers is what it is. So how do you sit down? Okay. So you've decided to do this now. You haven't started. So how do you decide who's the first person you're going to walk me through the process of writing the first letter?
Well, John, what I did was I got on the internet and I got all these names and all these addresses and everything. And I wrote like a base letter, like a mass mailing.
Got it.
Okay. And I figured I've lived a very interesting life so far. Mm-hmm. And I really think that, these people, they're lonely, death row, wherever they may be.
Yeah.
Maybe they would like to share their life with me. And
what was the context of the base letter? What was in it?
The base letter was basically about my injury and it was about the out-of-body experience and about how I was treated and about how society treated me and really at first wasn't willing to accept a brain-injured survivor because I did have problems.
See, that's really interesting because
it's authentic.
Well, no. It's not that it's authentic. It's you wonder how many of them were responding back because they sympathized with being ostracized by society.
Yeah.
And how many might have responded based on the fact that you had an out-of-body experience with God, and that they're on the fast track to meet him. So maybe they wanted to do that. So it's interesting.
Trauma does unite people.
Yeah.
You'll see that like a lot of groups, a lot of therapy, like people that have experienced traumas often relate to one another, right? Because
I used to speak at brain-injured survivor groups.
Sure, because who else is going to understand you better than someone else who's kind of gone through your traumas?
Yep.
That's in general, right?
So how many letters did you send out?
I sent out, I'm glad you asked that question. I sent out 40 letters to 40 different people, and I'll be damned. My psychologist was not thinking I was going to get much of a response.
How many did you get?
But I did. I got 36 letters back.
Pretty good conversion rate.
Yeah, we need to let Tony write our sales letters.
Tony, what are you doing?
So this letter turned a hobby into a full-time gig.
Okay.
Sure.
So your first. Okay, so did you start this with an intention? Did you have an intention of where it was going to go, or did you just want to see where it was going to go? What was the early intention of doing this?
The early intention was a hobby, be kind of cool.
Throw it against
just
the wall.
to see if you could get him to respond.
Just what he said.
What was it?
Throw it against the wall.
Just see what happens.
See what sticks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All of life's interesting things start that way.
Who was the one you were excited about?
Well, the first person who wrote me back was Arthur John Shawcross. He was a serial killer in Rochester, New York. And he was kind of a big name. He murdered 13 prostitutes, but first he murdered 2 children. And he got out. He slipped through the loopholes of the law in prison. He did, I can't remember how much time, but he got out. And 6 months later, he started murdering prostitutes. And I believe he killed 13. And they caught him then.
Android user? I'm guessing he had an Android, right?
He did.
Android
User.
Android user.
Now, this guy, though.
Tony's going to write me a letter later.
The views of John Gafford do not reflect the.
When it comes to Android, they absolutely do reflect your
We
thoughts of
sympathize
theirs.
more with the 13 women he killed than
Yes, I'm
Colt
sorry.
and his Android.
I'm sorry. There you go.
This guy, though, we went and visited him.
Your family?
My dad, my brother, and me. And I've visited lots of prisons over the years. I've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, though.
Yeah.
And he was very grandfatherly like. He was very kind, very friendly. But if you were on his wrong side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And can I share this really quick?
Anything you want.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay,
Well,
this is
your
about
show.
him. Okay, he's sitting about 2 feet in front of me at a table here. My dad, me, my brother. And then he starts talking about the murders. Okay? And I don't think I can talk
You
about
don't, yeah.
No,
I can?
Anything you
say
want.
Anything.
Okay.
Anything you want.
Open forum.
Yep.
Well, two of the girls he murdered, and he took his knife, he cut their vagina out, and his eyes were just going up and down like this, and he was sweating, you guys. This guy was sweating. Drops were falling down his nose onto his lip, and he took his fake teeth out and he threw them down on the table, and he goes, I ate it. I ate the whole thing from the inside out. And then there was a silence. And you know what he said? Then I went to my favorite Dunkin' Donuts and I got a cup of black coffee to rinse it down with. Now that...
Okay, all right, hang on a second. At what point now does your dad go,
Maybe we should have taken up backgammon.
the backgammon.
maybe this is not what we need to be doing right now? Maybe. Because they had to have had that conversation with you. They had to have.
They really didn't.
There wasn't a general concern.
They
for this.
monitored my correspondence.
Okay.
Like with what these people said, what I was saying to these people.
Because they're master manipulators in there too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And before I kind of got off on that tangent about Arthur Shawcross, do you know what I was talking about, you guys?
No, we said how many responses you
Well,
got.
no, I was saying
6 responses.
who were like the top ones you were excited about?
Oh, I was really excited about. I'm sure you guys have heard of Kenneth Bianchi and Angelo Bono. They were the Hillside Stranglers. Yeah.
They responded, huh? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Gary Leon Ridgway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's the
Green
Green
River.
River Killer. And then there was two killing cousins in Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Fred Waterfield, who's still alive, and his cousin David Gore. And
So
go on.
You can say anything.
well, no. I was gonna say, but at some point, you know, these relationships you had with these guys, it goes from more of a here's a quick pen pal back to creating a genuine kind of friendship with
Yes.
them that leads to some very positive results. So
Yes.
So where was the first inkling that might happen?
I just started to feel like for instance, there's this one serial killer named Harvey Kerrigan. He's written me 50-page letters, you guys. I mean, these people, they wouldn't just they would share their entire life with me, like their childhood, what made them into what they become, you know, and why they decided to walk that road. And I really felt that it's hard to be friends with a sociopath. You can't really be.
That's true. Believe me, I've tried. Can't date him either.
Can't text in groups with them.
Did you say you can't date him either?
No, you can't date him either.
That is awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, you can't date him either.
Lord knows, everybody's tried. But
Was there a common theme you saw between people and how they grew up?
Oh, yes, exactly.
like, could you write out a list of the top 5 things that they all kind of probably had similar?
I don't believe you're born evil.
No,
I don't. I believe, and with my research in getting to know all of these people, I have hundreds of hours of telephone conversations with them as well. And guys, these people were all made.
Yeah. Neglect and trauma. And,
horrible. Raped, pimped out by their moms, their dads. I mean, things that you can't even believe. Kind of formed them into psychopaths, into sociopaths.
Absolutely.
That's nuts. So at what point, so we're communicating with all these people in the story.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. We've created a relationship with them to where they feel safe enough to tell you their entire life story. So at what point do you get the first piece of information that you're like, I should probably call somebody about this?
They started to share with me murders, crimes that they committed that the law doesn't know about. And they were writing this stuff down. They were giving me directions to where their treasure chests are. And
common theme, right?
yes. And no bodies, just like where they hid identifications, necklaces of all these victims and stuff. And, as I continued, my dad said, they could write a hell of a book about your life story, Tony. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
We found an author, and
well, I'm more concerned about when you started helping the FBI with some of this stuff.
that is right now is going on.
Right now is going on.
Exactly. I'm helping 2 detectives in Vero Beach, Florida, find a suitcase of scalps that the serial killer, that was his fetish, hair. So he would kill his victims and he would scalp these ladies. And there's like 100 or so Polaroid pictures in this briefcase. And he gave me the spot where it's at. And I have 2 detectives who heard, I have a podcast, by the way.
Yeah. We're going to promote it. Yeah, we're going to help you.
Okay.
we're going to push it. Yeah.
But these detectives, they heard my podcast and they contacted me and they flew out to Las Vegas and they got all the directions from me, and that's going on right now
To help them out.
Which
that's what makes you the serial killer whisperer.
Yes, and there's also a case where brain fart. I'm forgetting the name of the child.
Oh, it's okay. What's the
It's
deal
for
with it?
children, and Robert Hansen.
Okay.
Yes, he was the worst serial killer in Alaskan history. Well, he killed 2 girls, and they didn't find these 2 girls, and they're young. And it's out by his cabin, and I'm working with the Federation for Missing and Exploited Children. They've come out to my house 3 times to get information and stuff like that.
On everything you're doing.
Yeah.
So the fact that you got connected with all of these people,
Yes,
and now you're using this information to, there's still families out there that are hurting because of the victims of these people, and having the ability to help, hopefully find them have peace. That's got to be the reward for all of this.
And it is, John. And I can't imagine. I don't have any children. But if I had a child, or not even a child, somebody in my family who went missing and they vanished and there's no answers, I couldn't imagine living without an answer.
Yeah.
So I might be able to give these people answers. And there's one serial killer who's given me like 7 cold cases that we're working on right now.
So what's their motivation? So a part of me wonders if it's for their own closure, their own senses of guilt, their own, whether they believe what's happening in the next life, you know what I mean, to kind of cleanse their own consciousness, their conscience, or is it something about just your relationship with them where they feel comfortable in like all criminals, every criminal talks about what they do eventually. So do you think it's a part of absolution, or do you think it's more about...
Is it bragging or absolution?
Bragging or absolution is a good way to put it.
That was an awesome question. And they're different. Some of them want to do the right thing and do what I just said for the families. And some of them, they don't give a shit.
Just total sociopath.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And those people don't mean shit to them. But I think with my friendship over the years, and I think I've been able to work it out of them.
Yeah, wear them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that your intent, or is it just a byproduct of the conversation of friendship? Like John tells me sometimes where he's buried a few prostitutes, but I'm not. I'm his attorney. I can't tell anybody.
No. But the point is,
yeah, you get that.
Listen. But we've worked on the statute, and they had Android's defense is viable. We've talked about that. They used Android phones. It's completely viable defense.
You can hate it, but
I told Colt, having an Android is a lot like dying. The people around you are sad, but you're oblivious to it.
Totally
it is.
I didn't mean to take away from your, but your thing is it just sort of like a byproduct of the friendship? Like, are you genuinely developing these relationships with people? I don't like, even if you're a true psychopath. I mean, like I said, friends. I can't understand. I carry guilt with me. I almost hit a rabbit on the car. I'm like, oh shit! You're like, I don't want to kill anything. It's just, to me, death is finality, and it creeps me out. It has since I was a kid.
Touch a mummy though.
Touch a mummy. But I was an EMT when I was younger.
Okay.
And so death to me is not an area I want to be around because it darkens my pool. Like you were saying with your dad. Seems like to you it's been an area where you've been able to thrive and lighten up other people's pools.
Yeah.
And I want to interrupt you really quick.
I was done. It's all you.
Okay.
Feel free. Feel free.
And I like that question, especially at the end. It does get to me, especially when I deal with assholes that kill children and rape children. Now that's a whole nother level of evil to me. And when it gets to that level, I back away. And I'm very spiritual, obviously. I met Jesus. I pray a lot. And I look at pictures, you guys, of the victims before they're dead.
So wait a second. Is there a point with this where it's really, you stay focused with these people and it's all about helping the families of the victims, and if it gets too dirty, the water gets too muddy, you got to get out?
That's exactly fair to say. Yeah. That's yes.
So has there been a couple of people that you are like, I'm done talking to?
Oh, yes.
You're too much.
Yes, especially, I'll just be really quick, guys. Especially the people that won't admit to killing, even though it's in black and white.
It's obvious.
Yeah. Like Randy Kraft one say, he's killed like 67 people, and I was friends, whatever you call it, with him for quite some time. But then, after a while, I was like, no, this is dry. Yeah. I can't. There's nothing. There's no.
When you stare into the face of like evil, it's blank.
Yes.
A lot of times, because if there's fire and anger, at least there's emotion. But these guys.
Yeah, just numb.
And Randy Kraft, he was a homosexual, and he killed gays, just like Jeffrey Dahmer. He was before me, though.
How many of these people are you talking to right now?
Right now, I don't have time to, because I used to write like all night, like tons of letters, and I write. I take my time. I write like 6, 7, 8 page letters to these people.
Because you got to kind of be all in with them if they're going to be all in with you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm sorry.
No, that's an interesting point. It's a lot out of you, but you are approaching these as genuine, almost friendships, and it's not it's not one of those things. How could you be friends with somebody who kills people? It's like, well, because humans are complex. Life is complex.
Yes, it
is. You can see past their traumas. So is your intent to develop genuine friendships with these people, and then it leads to other things, or are you kind of now at a point where you realize your gift
and you're going at an angle,
and you're going kind of at an angle? You know, is there? Both can be true too, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, John, I didn't answer your question.
Yeah.
I'm talking to about 10 now. I'm talking to one woman in California on death row. She murdered her 5 children.
Jeez.
Yeah. Susan Eubanks is her name. She's a real fucking piece of shit, if I could say that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, feel
All
free.
at
Feel
once.
free.
She did it all at once.
All at once.
She's a mass murder.
She went in the house, her house, and just started shooting him in the back of the head. And I'm talking to Pam Smart. I've been talking to her for 15 years.
Really?
She's very infamous, and I do say I have a genuine friendship with her. I like her. Those other guys, fuck them. I mean, it's too hard to you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
What intrigues you about her? so
What intrigues
much?
me about
Yeah.
her? The fact that she has made a difference. She went to prison. She's gotten like 2 or 3 diplomas, you know, and she has a life sentence, but she's dealing with the governor, who I might talk to on her behalf. Because the 3 other boys, the guys that actually did the crime, they killed her husband, they're all out of prison. Even the guy that pulled the trigger.
she's the only one left in prison.
And and I just, she does a lot in prison, working with other inmates and stuff. And
Path to forgiveness, right?
So when did the book come up? Well, you mentioned earlier. Let's get back to the book. So if you want to read the book and you want to hear all about this, what's the book called, Don?
the book is called The Serial Killer Whisperer,
right?
By Pete Early.
Okay. They buy it on Amazon or anywhere books are sold, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, there you go. Yeah. And so how did he hear about this? What was that process like? He approached you. What happened there?
To get a hold of Pete Early.
Yeah. So how'd the book come to pass?
There was a doctor that I knew, and you know what? My brain injury, I do have certain problems, like dates and stuff like
he
that.
does date. So he called you, and you guys just started doing interviews and started working through it.
Yeah. He wrote the book for 2 years.
For 2 years.
And then it took 2 years to publish the book. And when it came out, it became a bestseller right away. And I was on a show called The Doctors.
I remember that show. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that was great. They were all really cool. And I've done like a dozen radio shows, and it became really big.
But this is the best podcast you've ever been on besides your own, right?
I mean, hands down. I mean,
John, of course.
why ask? Obviously,
Hands down. There we go.
Hey, John,
Yeah,
is water wet? Like,
Yeah, I got it. There we go.
And I love the fact
we
you
go.
said, and you can't date a sociopath either. That's hysterical.
You can't. You can't. Believe me, I think in our younger days, we've all tried. We've all tried.
Swing and a miss.
Although, you know what? Not to make it weird, but Colt's wife is trying to kill him on a regular basis. we might need to have a
huge difference. Huge difference between serial killers and justifiable homicides.
That is,
I was going to
that
say,
is a good
yeah.
point. Justifiable homicide. Okay, I get it.
Was there-
I get it.
I'd get a
Anything-
probation.
Were there anything that like really shocked you? I mean, for that guy to sit there and say, "Cut out the girls' vaginas and ate them," that's got to be top like.
That
3
was
at
tough.
least.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's gotta be
Yeah,
tough.
very tough. Very tough. And
Shout out to Dunkin' Donuts. I mean,
I know, huh?
this is the
The
same
coffee
guy.
of choice for after that.
Hey, you guys, this is the same guy, though,
Oh, Jesus.
that would call my house and talk to my mom.
Too much, Connell. Too much.
Okay.
Bad Connell,
He would
bad
call your
Connell.
mom and talk to your mom.
Oh, yeah. These guys call
Really?
my house and they talk to my mom and they give her recipes and stuff.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
really?
not vagina recipes.
I didn't say it, John.
Dunkin'
I
Donuts.
held back.
Oh, Jesus. So talk about the podcast. Let's talk about that. Obviously, we want to give
We
you a
might
little bit
get
of promotion
sponsored
there.
by Dunkin' Donuts.
We
after
could.
that story.
It was a good plug. Tell me about the podcast.
The podcast, we've done season 1. It's 16 episodes. They're an hour long. The podcast is called Murder Phone,
Murder Phone.
and you can get it wherever they do podcasts.
Yeah, wherever it is. So search around for this. Wherever you're listening to this, take a listen for Murder Phone.
And we're about to drop season 2.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's a lot different than Dream Phone, which is
listen.
Don't. Here goes Connell.
Yeah.
Connell's taking off the rails today.
John, can I say something really quick?
Yo, whatever you want.
I just want to say what makes this podcast so special is all three of you guys, you all have like way different personalities.
Yeah.
So it really goes well.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate
Hopefully
it.
none of the personalities line up with who you've been talking to, but
I think-
it's like, you kind of remind me of.
Just so you know, what started kind of the whole podcast was, I don't remember who it was, but somebody we were all three in a room joking at one point, and somebody's like, man, I'd love to go get a drink with you guys. And effectively, this is going to get a drink with us. There's just no drinks.
Yeah,
Sometimes
pretty
there's, but
much.
not today.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it is. This is going to get a drink with us for the most part.
Just like my podcast, my dad is the co-host,
There you
and
go.
he says, welcome to our table. So it's kind of
Yeah,
like
the same thing.
What is it? Do you do like a serial killer per pod?
No, we do like a serial killer or another serial killer, and we go the whole season on them because I have that much
He's got
stuff.
that. He's got hundreds.
It's like a
of
serial. It's like a
I've
whole
listened to
program.
it. It's really good.
Oh, thank you.
Your
Thank you.
dad's really good at it. You guys have such a good connection. It's a great podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So definitely check that out. But again, man, this is one of those things, whenever we do a podcast here, we like to do a couple things, which is motivate you to either give you tips, give you direction in business, or, tell a story where it's like, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with me? I could be doing more. What it is, this is a guy that was in a coma for 36 days, had to relearn literally how to do everything in his power. And now has turned a limiting thing in his life into a force for good to help others. And it's a wild story, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's out there. It's wild, but that's what makes it good. And so check out
you.
Tony's podcast, Murder Phone. Tony, thank you for joining us today, brother.
thanks, man.
God, I love you
appreciate
guys.
having
Thank
you
you.
on.
You guys are
I
great.
appreciate having you on.
Awesome, Tony.
Give that a listen, and we're gonna wrap it up as we always do, guys. If you didn't like what we did today, tell two people, or if you tell somebody. Wait, what am I doing? See, Tony's got. This has been so wild today.
John needs some more caffeine.
I do. If what I meant to say,
Dunkin' Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. What I meant to say was, if you like what we're doing, tell a friend. If you hate what we're doing, tell two, because it doesn't matter if they're talking good as bad, as long as what?
As long as they're talking about
As long as they're talking about you. We'll see you next time. Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.